Are evolution and global warming new flashpoints in the GOP race? Let's begin there with CNN contributor Erick Erickson. He's editor of the conservative blog RedState.com, and Chip Saltzman, a Republican strategist who managed Mike Huckabee's 2008 presidential campaign. Eric, Governor Perry, we've spent a lot of time on things he has said this week. That is his belief about evolution and creationism. He didn't take any reporters' questions today, but saying something like that along a rope line, this is going to be a campaign, I assume, about jobs, taxes, the size of government. Where are we going with that one?
Yeah, you know, I find it fascinating. So he's answered these questions on global warming and evolution and then immediately pivoted back to jobs. But now he's forced Republican rivals to focus on global warming and evolution, not exactly selling points for them in the Republican primary. He's pushing them to the left with the GOP base. And meanwhile, he goes back to talking about jobs. And I would just point out what a cowardly mom that was to put her kid up to ask him that question, because she didn't want to ask the question. You can very clearly in the background hear her say, ask him why he doesn't believe in science or something like that. I mean, people who know Rick Perry knows he believes in science, but you know what? Good Lord, what a non-issue.
Non-issue, Chip Saltzman?
Absolutely. I think what Eric's saying is it's absolutely genius what Rick Perry did. He's got all of his rivals really hanging on every word, and the fact that Governor Huntsman had to respond to that. Look, Governor Perry's out there talking about jobs. He's talking about the record in Texas. That's what he wants to talk about. But I think as you're seeing this race develop quick, looks like everybody's going to be responding to what Rick Perry does today, and that's good for the Perry campaign.
All right, I want you guys to help me with what I'm going to call a little political chess, because Perry gets in the race this week, and it changes the dynamics of the Republican race. So I'm going to show you a little map here, and I'm going to bring up some of our candidates. Michelle Bachmann, we just talked about her a minute ago. Now, we know that Iowa is key to her. She's the Republican congresswoman. She's hoping to be out in Iowa, get the support of Christian conservatives, the Tea Party, get a springboard out of Iowa, and then come down to conservative South Carolina. Now, Governor Romney, he's a different case. He starts in New Hampshire, of course. He has to protect New Hampshire. I'm going to put him up there. That's his big state right now. But what changes this week are two things. Number one, the Ames, Iowa straw poll. Rick Santorum comes in well enough to say, maybe I can challenge Michelle Bachmann out here in Iowa for Christian conservative votes. Look for these two to spend a lot of time out there. Then Governor Perry comes in. No accident. He announces here in South Carolina. Sorry, Congressman Bachmann, you're going to have some competition here. Southern governor, traditionally the state that's quite decisive in Republican politics. But then Governor Perry says, you know what? I'm not limited. I'm going to come over here. He plays in Iowa. He wants to play in Iowa as well. Then, bang, where is he today? He wants to go up to New Hampshire. So how, guys, does this change the chess in the sense that Governor Romney wanted a New Hampshire win to springboard him down to South Carolina? Come on down here, Governor Romney. And then from there, now I'm told that because of Perry, Romney would be happy to have Bachmann win Iowa. But because of Perry, look for Governor Romney. Oop, he went away. Let's bring him back up here and come here. Look for Governor Romney. There we go. To spend more time and money in Iowa. Eric, to you first. How much has Perry complicated the chess?
I think he's complicated a good deal. Take this evolution creationism comment. Iowa is wholly unrepresentative of the typical Republican field. It's a wonder that either party has relied on it to be the first caucus. But the evolution creationism comments, the global warming comments, those help Perry in Iowa, whether he sets foot there or not, because it forces all the other candidates to decide whether they're to the left or the right of him. Let's not forget that Rick Perry's chief consultant, Dave Carney, is from New Hampshire, knows how to win races in New Hampshire, and then he announced in South Carolina, and after that you go to Florida, where he's already ahead in the polls there.
So, Chip, you helped Governor Huckabee to his big win in Iowa back in the last cycle. But if Romney spends a little bit more time out there, and you have this essentially being the chess, I know there are other candidates, and I'm not trying to disrespect them, but this is the state of play at the moment. How, just is Governor Perry shifting other people's strategy? What's going to happen?
Absolutely. I mean, Governor Perry's got a pretty straightforward Texas two-step strategy. Iowa, South Carolina, two good conservative states. South Carolina being a southern state, which he's a southern governor. Iowa, a conservative state where he'll do well at. Michelle Bachmann's got to have a win in Iowa. It's almost like you've got a rubber match between Bachmann and Perry to see who gets to round two to take on Romney for the nomination. Romney's got to expand the board, though, because if he lets somebody in Iowa, like Rick Perry, wins Iowa, gets momentum, and then goes to New Hampshire, loses by a little bit, goes to South Carolina and wins, it's game over for everybody, and Perry's the nominee.
Well, gentlemen, we'll play more chess as this all plays out. It's a lot of fun, and it's kind of complicated, but that's why we're here. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Chip. When we come back, Israel's ambassador to